All right, friends, we've made it through another week, and we are so glad you are joining us today. We have a great lineup for you: movement on the road and during travel, and how are you sticking to your food, health, and wellness routine. Angela's going to talk about changing up workouts. Jim has a great topic for us: the top benefits of stretching in the morning. We come back to stretching from time and time again, kind of reminding ourselves how important it is to stretch not only in the morning, but certainly throughout the day. And it's a great way to kickstart your day. And our special guest is Kevin Smith, who has a show on the Be Well TV network called Get Fit with the Body Smith. We're so excited to hear more about what he has to say, and his two key words for us are consistency and reset. All of that and more on today's show. Let's get started.
Welcome to your Healthy by Association Weekly Wellness Check with Aaron Wallowek, Angela Pelk, and Jim Thompson.
Welcome to Healthy by Association Goal Getters. My name is Aaron Wallowek, and it is Friday, July 16th. We're so delighted to have you joining us today. Our special guest, as I teased earlier, is Kevin Smith from Get Fit with the Body Smith. And we're going to come to you first, Kevin. I just want you to tell us a little bit about who you are, kind of your health and wellness journey, and then we'll come back to you a little bit later for more on your show and some of the great topics you have for us today.
Excellent. Well, I am Kevin Flex Smith. I am a professional bodybuilder, a certified personal trainer, and a certified online coach. My goal is to help moms and dads get fit, lose weight, and help them manage a busy lifestyle while looking good along the way. And so for my background, I graduated from Penn State University with a degree in human development and family studies. And this is big because I'm always looking at the behaviors. If you're talking about something that you want to accomplish in life, I like to analyze your routines and your behaviors to ensure that they line up with your goals. And that's how we create change. My company is the Body Smith Incorporated, and our goal is to help you master your life, your mind, and your body.
Awesome. We're going to talk more about that here coming up. I told Kevin as we were getting ready for the show that we all sort of play health and wellness professionals or less than professionals in this Healthy by Association community, but Kevin is the real deal, and we'll hear more from him in a little bit. But Angela, it's great to see you. As always, we're going to have you check in with our weekly wellness check. Tell us kind of how your week's been, where you're at along that 1 to 10 scale, and maybe tell us why.
I'm 9.5 today. I'm freaking
Dang.
rocking this week. And the
All
only
right.
reason I'm not giving myself a 10 is because my sleep has been off. And if you've ever watched me talk, you all know I always say this: sleep is like my number one value in life right now. And it's been not good. Like I've had just a couple of like late night phone calls, like they're just gone past, and I can't quite get myself to sleep after that much, I don't know, socialization. Maybe that's something I need to work up to, build up my socialization muscle again. But sleep's been a little bit off a couple of nights this week, but nutrition is on point. I have a new meal plan that I'm working on. My workouts have been on point. I have a new workout plan I'll talk about a little teeny bit later. So things are happening. I've been drinking my gallon of water every day. So I'm kind of rocking it. So I'm hoping this is like a good build up. It's only been 4 days, but it feels
Firing
good
on
to
all
be sort of
cylinders.
like on the upswing here, you know? So
That's right.
I do
That's
better
awesome.
with a plan than not, and better on a calendar than not. So if you hear me going, oh, I just don't know what I'm doing, just tell me, get on your calendar again, girl. Just get your life straightened out and I'll be good.
Well, I think that ties into that keyword of consistency that we'll hear a little bit more later.
Yeah. Yes.
That's great. Jim, we want to come to you next and hear kind of how your week has been and kind of where you are at in that weekly wellness check.
Well, not quite as good as Angela is, apparently, but no. I would say probably about an 8. Like things have been pretty good this week. I would say my only downfall had been probably just the fact that I had that kind of a slip a little yesterday, didn't get a good night's sleep, and so didn't get quite as much workout as I wanted to do in the morning. Been trying to get up and actually get up in the morning and start working out again and walking and doing some of my routine exercises and things. So yesterday was a little bit, but we were back at it again this morning. So the meal planning has been a little bit off this week, but for the most part, it's been okay. We've just been managing it. It's just been a little stressful. It's happened, but it's just not been as organized as I would normally like it. So, but that's all right. That's all right. We're hanging in there. It's Friday now, so we're good.
Awesome. Well, the thing that I want to know, Flex, is does a professional bodybuilder have anything less than a 10 out of 10 week when it comes to health and wellness? I'm curious kind of how you might answer that question, but also where are you at this week? How are you feeling?
That's a great question and a big one at that. I like to keep things simple, but inside my brain is extremely complex. So I'm gonna break it down. I broke it down into categories. So number one, spiritually, I'm a 10. I'm connected. I have a great conversation with the Creator every single day. You know, God is my number one. Number two, physically, I don't have any injuries. I haven't had any at all throughout my training career. So I give that a 10 right away because I feel good. I'm getting my exercise in. I do jujitsu, and I'm like on point with that. I go into my mental state. I'm committed. I'm focused. My vision is clear. That is definitely a 10. But one area that I'm going to have to say that has been suffering a little bit is going to be my nutrition. I give myself about an 8.5 here, mainly because I have 3 kids at home and a wife. And for anyone out there who has children, you know, you make plans, but they never go according to what you are really looking to do. So that's why I give myself an 8.5 out of a 10.
So true.
All right. Well, I love that. You know, we sort of have laughed over the months that we've been doing the show because sometimes people go into like, 8.9 or, 10.0, which I love. But I love that you broke it down even further into categories. I think that's just a great way to be thinking about it and know that it does, I think I like to think about that oven analogy, like the burners on your oven.
Yes.
You can turn them all on, but you're less efficient when they're all going at the same time. And so think about how, in some certain areas of your life, you might be on full blast, but in other areas of your life, they may need some attention, and that's okay. That sort of constant rebalancing is important for us in order to be holistic human beings. All right, so I want to turn my attention just briefly to this topic of movement on the road and during travel. So many of our association professionals who watch and engage with the show are beginning to travel more and more. And as they're getting out on the road, they're recognizing that their health and wellness journey, including food and their nutrition and movement, their spirituality, and so many other areas and components of their life are taking a little bit of a backseat to what it means to get out on the road and be working. That in our homes, in our lives, especially during the pandemic, we've created in many ways, these routines, these habits that have been easier to maintain because we've not had as many sort of things drawing our attention away from the home. But as we get back out on the road, that it can be difficult, it can be challenging. And there are so many things sort of drawing our attention away from our health and wellness journeys. And so I just am personally going to check in this week around that. And I'm going to ask our panelists a couple of questions about this as well. I had our first in-person event in quite some time. And I didn't give myself an option that before the workday began, I was going to get up and run. And I did exactly that each of those days that I was off site. And I know that once the day gets underway, it can get away from us at events, at meetings, at conferences. And I knew that even though I wanted those extra times, minutes to sleep in, that I wouldn't come back to it afterwards. And so I have to say there I was successful. And for me, it's just about not giving myself an option. I set the alarm, I'm going to get up, the clothes are right there by the bed, and I just take off. So that was good. Where I will say that I wasn't as successful is with the food side of things. We're offsite at events, and the foods or the things that we don't normally eat are around. The alcohol, I think, certainly other folks have said this before in the past, the alcohol is around more than maybe you're used to as well. And so I will say that I did dip into some temptations there in a way that I may not have wanted to. And so for me, it's just about going into those scenarios very intentionally. I've shared on the show before, specifically at conferences where you go through the buffet line my trick is always to do a lap around the room. It helps me kind of see who's there and who I want to network with, but I'm also kind of eye spying what food is available at the reception as well, and kind of making my choices before the bar line, because if you make your choices after the bar line, they are influenced certainly by the alcohol that I've consumed. Speaking from my personal experience, so I don't know. I will say that my check-in in terms of travel has been a mixed bag, and I will maybe put myself at an 8 with the idea knowing that there is room for improvement. So Jim, I'm going to turn to you next because I know you've had some experience with this. You've gotten out and about with your association management work. Certainly, I don't want to say post-pandemic because we're acknowledging that it's certainly ongoing, and in some cases we may see some spike or some slips later this year. But as we return a little bit to this in-person environment, what are some what have you noticed, and what are some tips or tricks that you might share with our viewers?
Sure. Well, I think, one of the things that I like to try to do, prior to going to a meeting is not only, thinking about the meeting from the standpoint of obviously your guest and everything else, but from your perspective, from health and wellness, I always like to go online and look and see, where some nearby greenways are, where's places I can go for a run. Because I'm like you, Aaron, one of the things I want to do first thing in the morning is get up early, get out, even if it's just, a 2 or 3 mile run, but just something to get out and get going, get the day started. So, I kind of like to map the areas out pretty good just so I can know, where I can go run, where's those spots that I can do that. Check out the fitness facilities, in advance, just making sure I know where they are, what's available there. What the times or the hours are, kind of thing. I mean, just all those things that you can do in advance before you get on site. So that way you're already mentally prepared that, once you get there, it's going to happen because you've already mapped out some sort of game plan. The food and beverage, obviously that's always a challenge. So it's just a matter of just, what you're supposed to, what you should be eating, and how much you should be eating. So it's just kind of, again, just trying to be mindful of that.
It was funny that you said that, Jim, because, pre-pandemic, I worked out a lot in gyms. And I think during the pandemic, I spent a lot of time working out outdoors. And I realized that going back into the gym wasn't my favorite. I was like, all these people that have told me all this time that maybe there was another way or a better way. I was like, maybe they were right. Like, I really like I prefer and like being outside in nature and kind of like, changing things up. And when being confined in that gym, I was just like, I don't know that I like this as much. I've become more accustomed to working out outside. So Flex, I want to come to you because, so often we're traveling and, we're in hotel rooms, or we're on the road, and we've not necessarily packed more than our gym clothes. And I'm just kind of curious if you have some insights here around how to maintain our workouts while we're traveling.
Okay, yes, I definitely do. Number one, you got to take 100% responsibility for what you do and what you don't do. A lot of times people get so caught up in, I missed a meal, I missed a workout, so therefore we start attacking the person and not the performance. So let's separate the two. You're still a great person because you just are. But if you miss a meal, it doesn't make you bad. It just means you might have got a B that day instead of an A in which you wanted. So let's keep that in mind. Number two, after you're deciding to take responsibility, I need you to be committed, because people who are interested, right? If you're interested in something versus committed in something, you might give yourself an easy way out or a reason that makes absolute sense why you should not do the thing you want to do, but it's important, so you just not do it anyway. Okay, I need you to be committed, because when you're committed, there's no wiggle room. There's no reason you're not going to do what you say you're going to do. So number three, chunk it down. I know what your ultimate goal is, right? We know what it is. We know what we're working towards, but we got to celebrate the small wins along the way. So when you get up early because you wanted to work out that morning and you made it, thank yourself. Say you did a great job. Notice how I'm building positive energy. This is more than just eating food and going for a workout. This is making sure mentally you're focused and clear and you're getting what you want every single time. Now, something that Jim mentioned, as he's on the go, he's already doing what? Preparing. He's taking the time to recognize where he's going and what's available to him, whether it be access to a gym or to some great restaurants. Maybe you have nothing but your hotel space. If that is the case, we won't have to worry about weight-bearing exercises. We'll use body weight instead. And while you're driving in your car, you can do two things. Number one, You can drink plenty of water. Just make sure you identified where the restrooms are, okay, along the journey. And number 2, you want to make sure that you practice something known as vacuums. Vacuums is a really great exercise to help with controlling your breathing and giving you the opportunity to trim down your waistline and generate more power. And in order to do so, I need you to take a nice big deep breath in through your nose. You're going to let that oxygen pass through your lungs, fill your belly with air so that you feel like it's blowing out into a balloon. And on the exhale, you're pulling your belly button into your spine as you're exhaling the breath out through the mouth. I'm still holding my vacuum right now as I'm breathing and I'm talking to you. And as you build up that skill, you'll have a lot more abdominal control and you'll start to see things happening in the direction that you want them to go.
I love that. So many great tips to think about, not only while we're on the road and on travel, but just like in general when it comes to health and wellness, and reminding ourselves that as we transition back to either a hybrid work environment where we're spending some time at home and some in the office, or fully in the office, that it's not enough to just be interested in health and wellness, but it's important to really be committed to it and kind of remind ourselves about that commitment. Yeah. Angela, you spent some time changing up your workouts, and I'd love to hear more about that.
I've just been struggling a little bit with just getting that commitment. I've been missing days. I started this program let's say 6 weeks ago, and just like, I don't know, I've already done it before. So it's just kind of, I think I like something new. So I have now committed. I think I've only been interested and now I'm committed. So all these things are like clicking in my brain at this moment. But I've just committed to something new. And it's pretty basic, body part weight training with my weights at home. So far, the first 4 workouts have been like almost an hour long, which is a little bit more than I'm used to, plus 10 to 12,000 steps a day. So these are not cardio workouts in my room here. They're just weight training, and I'm using bands and I'm using all sorts of little other equipment that I have around. But it's been a nice change so far. It is pouring rain here in Michigan today, so I don't know what I'm going to do for steps. I'm already looking ahead to a little dance program on Beachbody or a couple of YouTube, walking away the pounds kind of videos just to get some steps in. I think we're going to go, I got to return some stuff that we bought for my son last week, some clothes that we misgrabbed from the shelf. So maybe we'll get some steps in at the mall later, but it's kind of gross out today. I missed walking outside. So, but I'm really glad, we'll see how we're at next week. This is like a 90-day program that I'm committing to. I'm committed though. Yes. I feel like I'm just, I've just been kind of going through the motions, and, I'm fully committing to this whole thing. So this is like a new energy, new deal. So stay tuned on how we get through.
And I think the thing that really stuck out for me, Angela, is just is not being, not allowing those excuses to creep in around, it's raining outside or something like that. Really having some options available to you that, you are mixing it up with using your indoor space as much as you can, but also the outdoor space, and not allowing, really being committed, not allowing the weather, for example, to, deter you. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, as you all know, and it's consistently 95 degrees here every day. And, it's easy to say, I'm not going to go outside and do a thing or whatever, but I'm committed to it. And I don't know, I kind of ignore the weather and know that the pool will be here when I get done and can hop in and cool off. Jim, I want to come to you next. I know you shared with us an article. We'll link it in the show notes around the top benefits of stretching in the morning. I would love for you to kind of give us a primer on that. And then I want to go to Flex about the importance of stretching and kind of what he might also kind of weigh in on this conversation with.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's kind of funny, when you think about stretching, I think so many of us think about it from the standpoint of, before you work out or after you work out. And so, it just logically makes sense, but sometimes I don't think a lot of us think about the importance of stretching in the morning after you get up. Because when you think about it, you've been laying in bed for 6, if you're lucky, 7 or 8 hours or more. And so when you're sleeping, your muscles relax, your blood flow decreases, your heart rate slows down. So all these things are happening. Sometimes you may lay in the same position all night, so you get tight. So I think it's just important to just as soon as you get up to be thinking about some sort of stretch routine. And one of the things that I was reading, and it's not just simply standing up and just immediately reaching down and trying to touch your toes, because again, that's not exactly some of the best stretching to be doing as soon as you get out of bed after your back has been tight like that. So be thinking about some different types of yoga stretches that you can do, whether it's like cat-cow or some of the cobra poses. there's lots of really good stretches you can do that are not as intense, but are just really good stretches. But it's just a great, whether, it's so beneficial for your lower back. It's a great stress reliever to wake up in the morning and immediately start the day with a stretch like that to just get that tension out. Obviously, it's good for your mobility, improving your posture. So there's just so many benefits, I think, when it comes to, thinking about stretching in the morning. And again, it doesn't take long, 5 or 10 minutes, you can get up and make that be a part of your routine in the morning. So it's something that I really enjoy doing.
Flex, we know, and we've heard on the show before from others, that stretching is an important part of our movement and working out. I would love for you to add into this conversation other thoughts from your lens and your perspective about not only why it's important, but in particular, when we should be thinking about it, and if you have any ideas for how to stretch.
Certainly. Okay, so I'm always thinking about a variety of ways of how to get my body nice and loose and also prepared for the activity at hand or of the day. So for instance, if I'm going into squatting, I'm going to avoid doing a lot of really a lot of movements that are going to cause me to get super loose in my legs, because at that time I need my foundation to be nice and strong. So therefore, if I was going for a run, I might do a lot of other workouts or stretches that are going to help me get nice and loose. So I like you to think about what activity you're going to be doing. Again, if you're working your legs and it's a heavy squat or a leg press day or something like that, you need your foundation to be strong. If your body is too relaxed, you might feel something kind of slip or slide out of place. So I would save like the stretching for that at the end of your workout, so then you can loosen everything back up. But if you're going for a run and you need to loosen up your hips, your knees, your ankles, then I would put my stretching before the run. Now, a lot of things that I do, I like to focus on mind to muscle connection. So I always start off with body weights first. Before I grab any weight, I'm going to mimic the movement so that I can allow my body to open up. So when I'm exercising, I'm thinking about full ranges of motion in every single thing that I do. And I give my mind and my body an opportunity to feel what's going on. I do a consistent body scan, whether I'm going to do, let's say, some shoulder press. I want to make sure when I go to lift my shoulders, I don't feel any like impingement or any type of discomfort or tightness, because usually you won't know it's there until you perform the activity. So what I like to do in the middle of my workouts is active stretching. So I will do chest press, or I do push-ups, and then I'll go do pull-ups so I can open up the body, give myself room to stretch and open up those muscles. One thing you want to be aware of is that when you are exercising and when you're just moving generally, we have this sheet of muscle fibers all connected from head to toe known as myofascia. And so what this looks like, a quick demonstration, if I was to do push-ups or a chest press right now, notice how I'm grabbing, my shirt. All of those muscle fibers are pulling towards that muscle. What most people don't do is they don't stretch and release that. Now they start working their legs. So if I start working my legs, again, the same thing happens and it all starts pulling. So the goal is to open everything back up. If you're the type of person that doesn't really enjoy stretching that much, then I recommend getting a weekly or a bi-weekly massage so that a professional can help loosen up that tough, those tough muscle fibers as well as that myofascia.
Just how do you contain all of this information within your head and your body? You're just like information. So appreciative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, folks can certainly learn more from you on your show, Get Fit with the Bodysmith. Tell us more about that and what we can expect.
Well, honestly, what you can expect with Get Fit with the Bodysmith is always positive energy inside of a great environment. I am working with you. I am not talking at you. I'm coaching you. A lot of times when you work a fitness video, people don't want to feel stupid. stupid. They don't want to feel like they don't know what's going on. I'm going to take the time and break every single movement down. We only right now are working with body weight exercises. So yes, what I'm looking at, what I'm doing might look easy or seem like, it's a piece of cake to me. I've just had a lot more practice, but these movements anybody can do. The goal is to come into that environment. You'll notice that I will start off always with a check-in. I want to know how you're doing. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, give you something to think about, and then I'm going to say, you know what, you ready? Shall we get this work in? Have you committed to this environment? Okay, let's go. And when we get started, you're fully present. I'm right there with you, and you're gonna feel like I'm talking directly to you. You will see me sweating as well. But the goal, keep in mind, it's not about me. It's about you. So I'm asking you, what do you feel? Number one, does your bones, right? When you're going through the motion, if something feels uncomfortable, I need you to stop and reset. Right? And then once we make sure that we satisfied our distractions, now we can actually work. Are you minimizing the movement or are you maximizing it? Most of the time we're going through the motions, not really understanding how much we're missing the opportunity to activate our muscle. You're strong, you know it and I know it, but you need to believe that consistently. So when you come to this environment, I will continuously send you positive energy, positive vibes, definitely do my best to empower you and to encourage you to move on because again, one of the things I think that makes me unique as a person is I have an unlimited well of positive energy. Seriously, I just wake up and I'm like, you know what, I got to get it, but I'm seriously, genuinely happy that you go out and get yours too. So if you want it and you want to come get it, come into this environment. I want to show you how to properly use your body and connect it to your mind so you're no longer just going through the motions or not enjoying what you're doing. You're going to have a great time and you're going to realize, wow, 15 minutes, I can do a lot. And then you're like, man, what have I been doing in 30? What have I been doing in 1 hour? Mm-hmm. The goal is to not waste your time. The goal is to be efficient and effective. And when you get what you came for, each and every time, you're going to keep coming back. And I'm going to say that you must be crazy, but I showed up too. So I guess we both crazy. Let's make this thing happen.
That's right.
All right. So in our just final couple of minutes, I know that the two keywords that you shared with me were consistency and reset. And certainly
Correct.
This idea of commitment
Yes.
and being committed has come up as a theme. Maybe you could just bring us home with why are those words important to you?
Perfect. Starting with commitment, number one, the moment you commit to anything in life is the moment you're going to be challenged to see if you're really committed to that commitment, right? So it's just like the person that says, I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes today. But the moment you step outside, someone goes, hey, you want one? And you're like, maybe I'll take that. No. You're committed, right? So you got to be committed. Number two, you got to be okay with resetting. Look, you wake up every morning and you do it anyway. You start your day all over and you hope that you're going to have positive energy. That same energy needs to go into your lifestyle. It needs to go into your fitness journey. Where most people know how to sing or play an instrument, I don't. I actually understand how the mind and body works. And when I look at that, I know that you have a lot of potential and we need to maximize that. So when you say, I'm committed and you know that it's okay to reset, then you take the stress off of yourself because this is not just a 1 week or a 1 month journey. It is a lifetime. And if you do not start today, you're going to wish you would have yesterday, right? How many conversations have you had and said, man, I wish I would have done this, or 5 years from now, I'm going to be doing that. The moment to make any of this happen is right now. And when you take a realistic look at yourself and what you can really do, you're going to get realistic results and realistic change. So be okay with starting over. Doesn't matter where you are because it's your progress, not mine. It's yours. And the last thing, be consistent. Whether it's something you want to be good at or bad at, the truth is, whatever you're consistent in, you will build and it will grow. So rather than someone terrifying you and scaring you and saying, oh, my aunt or my dad or my mom just came down with this or got sick or this happened to them, look, you don't have to be afraid to focus on you. This is the perfect time to do it. So remember to commit, remember to be okay with resetting, and just be consistent. This is your journey.
I am so energized. Thank you so much for joining us.
Me
today.
too.
Yeah, right?
So glad to
Gosh.
be here.
I'm
Thank
going to
you.
include
So
a link
Love
to your show and more information about you in our show notes for
Thank
those
you.
that want to get in touch. I'm 100% committed to watching not only your upcoming series, but also some of the ones that you have recorded as well.
Thank you.
Again, just thank you so much for bringing your energy, your positivity, and your information. So great. Don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you on a future show as well. Angela and Jim, thanks as always. It's great to see you. We'll see you next
Absolutely.
week. But in the meantime, This has been Healthy by Association. Until next week, please remember to power your life with health, wellness, and intention. See you next week, everyone.